Hi there, it's Amy and Sam from Denim Dudes again, and we are going to be giving you a bit of a kind of antidote to all of the corona madness that's going on at the moment. We wanted to talk about some positive stuff that's come out of all of this. Obviously, stuff that we've been talking about for a while now is this like new creative generation coming up, and we've noticed that now everyone's stuck at home. That's really coming to the fore, and we're going to kind of give a bit of a shout out to some of the key artists, designers and makers who are getting our juices flowing at the moment. That's inspiring us. This first guy, so it's Daziori, isn't it? And his name is Liam. Where did you say he was based out of? Pennsylvania?
No, I think he's in, where is it? My mind's gone blank now. Oh, fuck.
Oh, I'm sorry. Put you on the spot. Somewhere in America.
Yeah, it's on the East Coast somewhere. But yeah, he's basically just like, I think he's probably like 16 or something. I was chatting to him on Instagram. But yeah, super creative kid. He's just getting, super creative with denim. He's got a serious passion for it. He does everything from digital prints on jeans. He does like abrasions. He does embroideries. He's basically just using denim as sort of a canvas for his kind of expression. He also works with, I think, local kind of manufacturers as well to see things like the digital printing. But it's really amazing to see sort of young creatives like this and how kind of ambitious they are and sort of their creations of what they're making at the moment.
Yeah, the diversity. Also, I mean, like he sells, but it's all one of one as well, which I think, again, is really important right now. You know, all of these platforms that are allowing kids to just sell, individual one of one pieces, which is really cool.
Yeah, and he's quite sort of transparent in the way that he creates as well. Like over the past few weeks, he's been doing some Instagram live sessions where he's sort of showing people how he creates his jeans. So it's nice that there's that kind of like information sharing and really building a community around his craft.
Yeah, and opening up to other people to get inspired and to try doing it too. It's like very empowering.
And then this is another guy that I've been following for a while on Instagram called Dudu Kaka. It's not necessarily denim, but the application of what he uses obviously has denim heritage in it using chain stitching. What I really like about it is rather than doing sort of like the traditional kind of Western and heritage inspired stuff, he's bringing in kind of pop cultural references. He does chain stitch with anime kind of things as well. He has done some denim and then he does a lot of it on sweats as well. But aside from that, he also creates art pieces as well, right, Amy?
Yeah, so I was at the vintage store in New York, Pro Sale, and there was this amazing canvas, and it was yin yangs all over it. Therefore, obviously, I was like, "What's this?" And I think that's what's really interesting about him. And obviously, we have our story for the season, Art House, in the forecast, and it's about these new creatives who are really blurring the lines between art and fashion. And so yeah, he'll do a canvas, and then he'll also do obviously garments and pieces on clothing as well, like kind of blurring those lines, which is really, really cool. Yeah, he's a really inspirational person. I think he's based in New York, right? He must be.
I think so, yeah. But it's a little, bit of a tip for any brands looking to update any embroidery at the moment. Check out him.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, Murder Bravado, like king of the.
He kind of started off as like one of the DIY guys, but he's one of the ones that we've really sort of like seen evolve it from being kind of like an Instagram brand to actually creating a ready-to-wear line. He's now got a line called Who Decides War, I think it's called.
Oh yeah, that was the one that you sent me.
Yeah, and he's just done his first show in Paris in January, just before COVID hit, so he got it in there. But yeah, he's really super kind of expressionist in the way that he does all his different applications.
It's all very overworked, isn't it? Like overworked surfaces, really, really intricate and really evolved and involved.
Yeah, and he's worked with Levi's before. I feel like he did like a workshop at Coachella, and then he's also had the co-sign, I think, from Virgil. He did a collaboration with Off-White and did a special pair of jeans. So it's really great to see some of these young kind of influencers who have started off on Instagram that they're now becoming fully fledged kind of like designers.
Yeah, totally. He's rad. He's based here as well, right? In LA?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
And then this is a fun guy called Slumpy Kev. Again, another one of these DIY kids who we've been monitoring for quite a while. But he started off just painting jeans, doing kind of homage stuff to his favorite cartoons in specific Cartoon Network. And he got a huge following amongst sort of like the younger kind of kids online, and that earned him a place, I think, at Miami Art Basel, where he collaborated with Depop and Cartoon Network. So it's amazing to see that the brands that these guys are kind of like emulating, that they're starting to take notice of them and collaborating with them.
It shows the power of online, especially, you know, like obviously in the last few seasons we've been noting that, but the power of online right now, because, you know, we are all that's our only connection to the outside world right now, you know. So even more so than ever, our you know, little portal to the world is through this, you know, this mobile phone. And so it's really interesting. It's going to be interesting seeing how that does evolve and how that affects things in the next sort of 6 to 9 months, you know.
And I think it's a good thing for brands to kind of look out for some of these sort of smaller emerging designers as well. He's got like a huge following, I think, of over like 100,000 followers on Instagram. So, I mean, the way that kind of COVID has impacted the influencer culture, you're seeing that people are kind of seeing through the kind of typical influencers in the way that they're kind of reacting at the moment. And there's more kind of purpose, I think, with some of the younger kind of audiences who have a bit more kind of meaning behind what they're creating.
I think that's a really good point. I was listening to a podcast just yesterday with the Sustainable Fashion Forum, and that was one of the things that came up. You know, what are the more sort of, we've talked about purpose-driven influencers for a couple of seasons now, but, you know, what are the more, let's say, shallow influencers doing during this time? They're probably struggling quite a lot for like content, because a lot of their content is based on you know, beautiful imagery or being somewhere in particular, or you know, wearing certain things, and that everyone's sort of stuck in their home. So what's happening is the true creatives are coming to the fore and doing really awesome things, and that goes as far as, you know, doing sort of like, you know, live Instagram live chats, or, you know, what have you, TikToks. Everyone's getting really, really creative with TikTok. And it just shows, it's almost separating out the ones that didn't really have very much substance behind it, and then the guys who really have got like depth and art, you know, and art behind their work. And like you say, you know, like these are the kind of purpose-driven influencers who are really going to come to the fore, I think, even more so, which is great. I think it's really good.
Yeah.
Really positive.
And then you can talk on this one. I'm not too familiar on this one. This is more your
this is just one that I've been following recently that I just really love. I think she's called Rachel, something like that. Let's see. Yeah, she's really, really awesome. She's basically she's called Rebecca, that's it. I just had to look it up in my notes. But basically, Rebecca takes old quilts and remakes, and obviously you can see here she's sort of taken old shirts as well. But you can send in your own quilts that you found or that you have in the family. Again, it's a lovely idea of, you know, if you've got something you're just sort of sitting on and it's waste, or it's just not being used, to make it into an incredible heirloom piece is really, really cool. So it's thinking about, again, the longevity of garments. There's tons of people out there doing this sort of thing. We've mentioned in previous seasons, you know, Petamento's store is one of them. He's a really, really great guy. And of course, it harks back to the stuff that Baudet is doing, Emily Baudet is doing. But yes, I think they're just doing beautiful things. They do a lot of stuff with bandanas and quilts. And it also kind of taps into this sort of more wholesome aesthetic that we are covering in one of our stories actually this season. This sort of very kind of like make, do and mend, upcycled aesthetic that's very craft based. I mean, there's tons of people out there doing amazing things. You know, there's people doing sashiko and quilt stitching, little how-tos and videos as well, which has been awesome. Like we say, you know, with our first guy, Liam, just the idea of empowering other people. The guys from Folk Fibers, she's awesome, and she's been doing how-to videos and sharing some of her knowledge. So again, it's about community, I think. It's about community, sharing knowledge, and also the idea of frugality and making do with what you've already got in your home. So it's, you know, all around it ticks a lot of boxes for you know, what we're looking at right now as far as, you know, cultural shifts are concerned.
I really like what you just mentioned about how you can actually submit your own garments as well, because that having that emotional kind of attachment of a garment that you've had or might have been handed down from someone else, and then having that remade into something else that you can kind of cherish, and it can go on to someone else after that as a new form, is something that's really beautiful and creative way to kind of think about it.
Yeah, it's very kind of like, it's story. It's like, you know, when a brand has a kind of like storytelling, this is our brand, this is our story. Well, it's actually tapping the consumer's story. It's tapping the customer's story, the personal story, and making it real for them, which I think is really rad. And I think that shift is something that's happening in the industry in general right now. So yeah, it's good representation of that. I think that's it, isn't it, for our inspiration, our
We've
craft?
got
Oh,
one
we
more
got
here.
one more.
So this is a brand called Pale USA. They're based out of LA as well. And again, they're just like a young brand who have just been experimenting with denim. They're kind of known for doing this really kind of aggressive, like top stitching. It's a bit kind of like haphazard, kind of nods to the old kind of cross pant styles. But what I like about their kind of update to it is doing these colourful stitching on top. We did a little
Yeah.
with them recently on Instagram. One of the quotes that we liked from theirs is they said, "We are artists at heart, and what takes us to new lengths is designing art that you can wear. Much like what a canvas is to a painter, we want the evolution of denim to translate to our vision on the fabric and create something special that you can wear." And again, that's something that we'll be talking about more in our art house story, but this idea of the crossover between art and fashion, and again, that more kind of emotional attachment you'll have to something if it's this kind of like artistic sort of approach to it, and there's a craft to it, and you can really kind of appreciate what people have sort of poured into it creatively.
Yeah, totally. And like you say, I like the idea of it being, it is kind of inspired by punk and crust pant and all of that stuff. And yet it's got this kind of like light, bright naivety to it and uplifting side to it because of all of the colors, etc., etc. But yeah, maybe we should do an Instagram live conversation with them. That'd be quite fun. All right, thanks guys for joining us. That was our sort of craft-based inspiration. And we've got another video that's going to be all about cozy and indoor wear and what that could mean for denim. So join us for our third video.
All right, see you guys.
Bye.